Mute you two. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are we doing? Sorry for the wait. We're just getting everything set up on my end. And we have a special guest with us, as you guys can probably tell. We've got the man, the myth, the legend himself, DJ Miles. Let everybody know how you're doing.
Thank you. What a humble way to grace your host here, or your guest. Thank you. So I'm excited to talk. I'm the one who hit you up because, as everyone is saying it, this changes everything.
It does change literally everything in this. And like, we just wanted to get together and just discuss this with you guys because generally speaking, like we were just saying before this, like this is like such a generational moment in Chainsaw Man that we wanted to just discuss it and talk like as like just two people that like literally just analyze this series almost every week. Like we just needed to talk to you guys and just let you guys know our thoughts. Like I said, like he said, like this literally changes everything. And especially it's so funny because we just had this conversation I think only a couple weeks ago where a lot of the things that we were like upset about, I feel like Fujimoto almost instantly started answering, which was hysterical to me.
Yeah, I feel like, he heard some of the criticisms we had in that 3-hour stream one day. And he's like, what if we just did this huge alley-oop and really reconceptualize what we thought about part 2? If I may, can I just go ahead and ask you a question?
Of course, as always.
How much now is part 2 enhanced with this one twist?
Like almost 100% significantly. Like it really does. It's one of those things that it adds so much extra layers and context, and like you're able to see almost what's the word I'm looking for? You're able to see, like, to use like a tree analogy, like branches and roots to the story that like you didn't even realize were there. Like it is insane to me how much this recontextualizes things like Chainsaw Man Church, things like especially after Chainsaw Man Church. Also, I saw a lot of people talking about it on Reddit. It makes sense now why Fami just randomly disappeared in the middle of the Aging Devil arc. Now, this is just a theory, this isn't confirmed, but it makes a lot of sense when you do think about it. Like, hey, like, if the Aging Devil recognized who she was, like, that would have completely fumbled her plan. Like, the fact that, like, as soon as everything started getting wild, she just dipped out of nowhere and then came back after everyone was done. Like, that was just, it's just so many different things that people are like, what the hell is going on? Why is Fujimoto doing this? Or Fujimoto's lost the plot. Like, Fujimoto doesn't know what he's doing. Like, there's still some criticisms I'm sure that you can make, but at the end of the day, it really shows that he did have something he was sticking to and he was trying to push, and it's just we just had to wait for it. That's really what it comes down to. Which everyone that commented on the last live stream that was like, these guys need to just wait for the series to be over now, are like having their fucking candy day. They're like, we told him. But it's fine. You know what? Like, I know you're the same way as me. Like, we just do this because we love the series. Even though we may like say like our criticisms, at the end of the day, we love Chainsaw Man. If Chainsaw Man does something we like, we will, praise it to the ends of the earth. And if it does something we don't like, then, we might have an opinion about it.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy in those little comments, right? Because I had someone, of course, say that in my video, right? Because I had no problem admitting, like, you know what? I believed in Fujimoto, but part 2, I don't know. I kind of doubted him a little bit, right? Like, I still think he was going to deliver a good product, but that twist really came out of nowhere. And, I think a lot of the sentiments we shared and critiques with part 2 that we had in our last stream, or in the stream we did together, yeah, maybe a lot of it has been solved, or it's going to make me rethink about this story in a different way. But, for people who are like, how about you judge it until it ends? My question is, then why would you watch my fucking videos every week? If every week I would say, hey guys, what's my opinion on this twist? What's my opinion on Nayata or Fake Chainsaw Man? I don't know. How about you get it all until we fucking have the story wrapped?
No more reviews. Right? We're done. No more weekly reviews. I'm just going to drop a full retrospective at the end, guys.
Bro, I'm just not going to review anymore because every week people would click. The ones who would click after the third video if the only thing I said is, let's just wait until it's over, guys. Shut the fuck up. Like,
but yeah, so
God,
like
man.
what are your thoughts on how does it recontextualize the story for you? Like, what does this change for you going forward? Like, saying like what you said, like, you know, obviously like there are things that like you had criticisms of that people weren't happy that you had criticisms of. Like, what criticisms does this change for you now? And like looking back now, are you like what were you like, if you're admitting you're wrong, what were you wrong about?
I would say maybe some of the criticism we had with the Chainsaw Man church arc, for sure, right? Like now it's actually really crazy to think about. Like, I have to sit and process that. Oh shit, who's running the Church of Chainsaw Man? Fucking Death. I mean, how many religious undertones are just off of that? You know,
True.
little idea right there, right? Like, that's really like fascinating to think about. And here's the other thing too. I said this in my live stream last night. We know fire is like one of these servants for Death. Isn't it also interesting too that Barum, the flamethrower hybrid, was the second in command next to Fami in this Chainsaw Man church arc?
I didn't even think about that. I really didn't even think about that. Huh.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? It's like, what kind of correlations can be spun from there? And even more interestingly enough as well, was Barum also kept under wraps under this? Because I don't know how much I would trust Barum, because Barum was, you know, someone we all love to hate, and Barum loved to fuck around with like Asa and Denji. I feel like Barum would have revealed that by accident. Like
100%.
Oh, shit, like Fami was actually Death all along. So like, how many people was under
were fooled
under Fami? Yeah, what was pulled, assuming they were doing this for Fami, but in actuality, it was Death. Now, the only person I will say who probably knew it was Death was a Primal Fear.
Definitely.
Because one of the conversations we also discussed is that it's odd that when Makima faced off against a Primal Fear, the Darkness Devil didn't give two shits about who that person was, right? And it's so interesting that when it came to Death, now granted, Falling is a whole different personality than Darkness, without a doubt. But I still think we put a tier above Primal Fears, just above all these other devils. And
Yeah.
I think if anyone was going to listen to anyone, it would have been Death, right? Like, who's the only person I'm going to acknowledge? Death. Okay, I will do, you know, I would take your orders. So yeah, it's now it makes more sense, right? That like, okay, Death would be someone I would acknowledge. Would I acknowledge Yoru, right? Aging didn't acknowledge Yoru.
Not at all.
And you think Falling Devil would acknowledge Fami? This Kobeni personality-esque horseman? Hell no. You know? So yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, go ahead.
No, that like that's like a really good point of like, that's something that we were able to, and that's why it's such a good twist, because there genuinely was a secondary answer for that. It wasn't the best answer, clearly, because now that we have the full picture, Fami being the Death Devil makes 110% sense. Like you said, you know, why would the Falling Devil listen to Fami? Sure, you could argue, like I said, we even talked about it in the last stream, you know, Falling Devil is a very special kind of primal fear. Like, she's not a very hostile falling, like, devil.
Yeah.
So, and that was an easy way to write that off, right? Such an easy way to be like, hey, you know what? Falling Devil's a special case. You know, maybe she just follows Fami because Fami's famine. Fallen Devil likes to make food. There's the connection right there. So it's literally the perfect twist, because even the original thought process made sense. Like, it wasn't even like one of those, and I feel like that's why this plot twist almost hits so hard and is such a generational moment in the series, because up until this point, there really wasn't any indication that something was up, right? Like, there really wasn't any reason to believe Fami wasn't who she said she was. There was no reason to believe that I think I even said it, because I theorized that, funnily enough, it kind of came true, just in a different way. I theorized that Fami was going to be the next villain after aging, because my thought process was, you know, Control, Makima, War, Yoru, like the Four Horsemen, then Fami comes next, and then it goes to Death.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Fami being incompetent, Fami being, always half-assing things, like the Chainsaw Man Church, putting all the work to build it, and then just fumbling it at the end, and just like, oh, sorry, I tried to stop the apocalypse with it, but it turned out it actually just helped the apocalypse. Sorry, guys. And like, same thing with the fault. Like, it was so believable that she just was this. She was just this lackadaisical, very easily distracted by food devil that would just lose track of things. And like now, like that she's the death devil, and like actually it was all just her grand master plan. It even takes me back to the one scene in the Chainsaw Man Church when what's his name? Is it it starts with an H. It's the Chainsaw Man, the fanatic who has the implant. The implant. I can't think of it. He's one of the one of the Chainsaw Man Church people, the Devil Hunter crew. Haruka, is that his name?
Haruka. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's his name.
Yeah. Haruka,
when he's like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, what are we doing this for? We're getting laughed on TV. This is just causing issues. And then like, the one who honestly, could this be? We thought maybe this was Fake Saw Man. Maybe it's not. If Fake Saw Man is or maybe he was just another pawn in the end, right? Maybe he was fooled too and didn't realize Fami was devil. Like the fact that he's like, hold on, don't worry. Let Fami be the brains. Have her stay in the driver's seat. You don't need to understand. Just let her do her thing. Like, it's I've been yapping for a while, but yeah, it's this twist like. It really, no one really saw it coming at all, and I think that's why it's so good.
Yeah. And man, even up until the reveal, I was convinced, like, the fake Chainsaw Man, right? Like, that's the brilliance in this specific chapter. Like, the fake Chainsaw Man, kudos, I'm really enjoying the fake Chainsaw Man, right? Like, his hero persona, and how, even if it sounds like this over the top All Might kind of spiel, right? Like, he's like, oh, like, I know how you work, right? Like, you think you save everyone through dying and you preserve life their way, but let me tell you about human life. They always, they just always fight the good fight, and, let them do what they want to do, and that's what makes life precious, right? Now, I'm totally rephrasing what he said, but like, I love that moment, and I said it on my video. It's like the Super Saiyan Gohan moment, right? Where the real Famine Devil was just fucking irked by that little spiel, like, bitch, you think you figured me out? Like, she was so irked, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, because what are you? You're death. And then that's where the chapter takes that nice turn, and it's like, wait, what? Like, I'm pissed off by what you said, but no, I'm not death. And as a matter of fact, and then you just feel that the pressure. I just felt like that anime sound effect of the yes, and I'm like, holy shit, what is happening? And then bam, we see the falling devil. And I talked about this last night, and we talked about it too. The brilliance that I find so fascinating with the Primal Fears is that all of them have their statements, and when they get out, they are still one of the most memorable moments within this entire story, right? Despite whatever criticisms, specifically in the Aging Devil arc and how it concluded, the Aging Devil is just a fascinating, like, primal fear.
Agreed.
Alongside Falling in Darkness. And I was okay with not seeing Falling again. So to see Falling again was already like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yep.
And then we see Fami, and then Fami's like, or the real Fami ends up telling Death, like, oh wait, no, it's Death who ends up telling Fami, yeah, sorry I used your name. And then she's like, hey, if you have any ounce of dignity for human life, like, you'll die. And it's like, holy shit, like, she's the Death Devil all along. Like, it happened so fast. I was so excited to record because I'm like, wait, I need to reread this chapter.
It's one of those chapters, man.
So crazy.
It really is. Yeah. You really just like, you're just like, wow, I need to say something about this. Like, holy crap. And you get like excited to like make the video. Like those are like the best chapters, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And then, just seeing what everyone else thinks too, right? The content creators, right? Like Sufferance. I don't know if you watch his videos on Chainsaw Man, but I was excited hearing him talk about it because he was saying like, hey, this is like how everyone kind of like the casual fans, the hardcore fans, the people who gave up on the series, and then he was basically saying there's a super hardcore people like on Reddit or whatever, and then like us content creators, we're kind of like the 1%, but not the super hardcore fans, but we still have to try and give some type of analysis or theories on like what's to come, despite the ups and downs with this story. And, you know, I will still hold to the sentiment that this still doesn't rectify getting to the sushi restaurant. That is still probably the weakest segment in Chainsaw
agreed.
Man. But I also thought too, where I'm like, I don't think it would have been salvaged, but like if these chapters were maybe 18 to 22 pages, now the like the 7 to 8 chapters we got maybe really should have been condensed to like 4.5, and now that doesn't sound as bad, right? And I think during that specific process or during that segment, there were like bi-weekly weeks, you know, so I think that's why it's so painful looking back at it. But
weekly
again,
fatigue for sure.
Yes. But now that we know this twist, and now that we will have the luxury of reading this story in one shot again, yeah, I mean, now the conversation of like, is part 2 just as good as part 1, if not better? It's like, you know, still recency bias. I still like to think I prefer 1 over part 2, but however this story ends and where it could potentially go, because I think the biggest mystery, and we can talk about this too now, where this reveal of Fami being death all along, what the fuck is, like, who's the Nostradamus prophecy about? I mean, Death was here the entire time. Like, what the fuck?
True.
Like, is Yoru the final boss? Like, but Death was watching Yoru and Chainsaw Man get stronger, right? I mean, they are stronger because of the consequences of the Chainsaw Man church arc, right? Like, now my head is like, wait. I don't know what to think anymore. There's too much to think about with this.
You're so right. It is interesting to think, right? It is interesting to think that, you know, of course, you know, Fami was, you know, this identity thief that like, like did like all of these different things in the background and was this big mastermind. But, you know, just based off the way the chapter ends, when like you mentioned, the famine devil is like, you know, if you really did love humanity at all, you would die. And she's like, and she pulls her, you know, skirt up, and it reveals like her body's literally like ripped open, and she's like, hey, look, I've literally already removed all of my organs, I can't die. Like, it makes me wonder that, like, I wonder if when she was talking to Yoshida and Fumiko, also one thing to quick mention, like, I don't agree with all the people that are like, this makes Yoshida a bad character now because he wasn't able to figure this out. Like, we weren't able to figure this out, so why would Yoshida have special information? You know what I mean? It makes sense why everyone, at least in my opinion, was played. You could argue that it's weird that Yoru wasn't able to figure it out, but again, I feel like that's either something we can get more context for later down the line, or as you mentioned, just as you mentioned, is Yoru actually the big bad in the long run the entire time, and knew but just kept it a secret as well, and said, hey, fuck it, I'm the one that's gonna make out good in the long run, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. Now, no. Whatever, we still don't know what War is planning. Asa, now that she is aware of it, was willing to die. But either way, getting back to my point here, is like, generally it also could be, and it would be an interesting plot point if the Death Devil genuinely doesn't want to do the apocalypse. What if when she was talking to Fumiko and Yoshida, she was right? She's like, hey, I want to enjoy the time I have left. I've genuinely enjoyed humanity. I enjoy food. I enjoy the things that you guys have created. You know, I can't die. And like, that's why maybe she's been doing all of these things for Yoru, for Denji, because she knows if she gets Yoru and Denji strong enough, maybe they'll be able to kill her. Maybe, and not for nothing, if she can't be killed, maybe it's the same kind of similar mentality as aging. Like, hey, eat me. Like, Chainsaw Man, eat me, erase me completely. And at that point, if Chainsaw Man devours death and Yoru is able to turn Denji, God forbid, actually at that point into a weapon, maybe that's what Yoru's plan is, to wield Chainsaw Man as a weapon after it's devoured death. And there is no death, and you know, people are always theorizing, you know, she wants to just start an infinite war once everyone is immortal and can't die. You know, who knows what Yoru is planning, but no, I genuinely do appreciate like the different ways that this go, because again, it could be completely different, and maybe, you know, she does want to cause the apocalypse and everything before was just one big, you know, ploy. But I think the reason why I love this twist is because it's one of those things that it's so like, where are we going? Where is this going to go? Real quick, and then I'll let you go. Is just I think a really fun thing too is how weak Fami ended up actually being, it almost makes so much sense now that we know she was the famine devil. Because if you really think about it, obviously there's hunger in the world. I'm not saying that there isn't, but when you compare something like famine to control, or pestilence is what the correct one is, and then you have war and everything like that, like these are unfortunate. Like, again, not saying it doesn't happen. I don't want to make it sound like hunger isn't widespread, but compared to the first world, where Japan is having all of its fear and everything stemming from famine, really isn't that big of an issue in Japan. It makes sense why famine would be a weak devil. It makes complete sense why she would be, have the brain of someone that's super strong, when she has like that moment when she's fighting and she goes, this is blah, 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 blah. I just have to do this and I'll beat you in 3 seconds. And then she just gets cooked. She could just, she's a weak devil, because famine, at least it's just not a big, as big of an issue as other things would be. So I do like that as well being revealed, because it was really interesting that if she was death, why she was so weak.
Yeah, the only slight pushback I will say, and I think you'll agree with this anyway, is that, I still don't want to counter out because she is a horseman, right? So like, of course. I still like I think even if we were to rank them, right? Like right now, it's like, yeah, Fami is definitely the weakest. I mean, maybe Naita, but like that's because like lack of experience, life, whatever, right?
Exactly.
But like Naita was a pretty bright kid at what, like 8 or 9 years old, right? I don't know how old she was, but my thing is, okay, this is funny, right? Like we're getting the Fujimoto like quirkiness that we do, but I still don't want to counter out, and I hope we do see something else beyond that, because I will say that will I will peg it, a point or two with Chainsaw Man Part 2 if we really got the reveal of Fami so far late into this, and she's basically like Kobeni 2.0, but minus Kobeni being like a badass when like push comes to shove, right? Or maybe that really is the moment, right? Like maybe she is like a wimp, and then like up until Kobeni was pushed enough, she became this total badass temporarily, right? So maybe we could get that with Fami here, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think we were setting this up right post Aging Devil arc. We're at the cafe, they were gonna have their chocolate cake, whatever. Yoru ends up taking Denji. She does this promise, kind of like what Makima did to Denji back in part 1, right? To defeat the gun devil, I'll grant you this wish, right? You defeat death, we'll make love, and if you don't beat me, or if you don't beat death, then I will kill you, turn you to a weapon so I can beat her. So Yoru's plans still seems pretty grounded, even though Asa knows what they are, and she doesn't want to reveal it just yet, right? It could be the Age of Devils for sure. But it seems like when Fami and Death were talking in this chapter, Fami was specifically saying, like, if you die, like, think about this, sister. Like, I need you to die because you being around is going to make this thing more problematic. So it seems like Fami and Death are definitely on the same wavelength of what this prophecy is going to be, as opposed to Yoru, who just seems a little bit more self-contained and more selfish. With like, well, I just want the age of, well, even if she doesn't call it the Age of Devils, right? Like, I want to defeat Chainsaw Man so I can get like nuclear war. We have to keep that in mind. This is something she said in like the beginning of Chainsaw Man Part 2. She wants nuclear war for a specific reason. I'm assuming the other war-based, traits that Pochita has consumed from her way back when they all fought, years and years ago. So, yeah, there seems to be two different narratives, and even if Death, see, it's weird because I don't want to say Death from that last chapter. Like, how did you interpret that last page of her saying, like, I stripped all my organs and I'm still alive? Was she trying to sound like a badass there, or was she really complying with Fami, saying, like, look, like, I'm trying to kill myself and I can't die. So, like, yeah, I'm trying, sis. Like, I don't know what's happening, which now makes part 2 all the more exciting because, like, what is now the equalizer here? Was it always Pochita and the power of, like, erasure and, like, the thing of, like, him wiping out something from existence, right? And that was just kind of teased, and we were playing with that idea with this aging devil arc,
Yeah.
right? Like, we saw him consume snow, we saw him consume octopus, right? Like, so think about that, because obviously I think Pochita is definitely a key component, but I wonder if, again, who the hell are we fighting for, right? Like, what if the Force Horsemen, somehow, all have to rally up together for a true big bad that we haven't seen yet, right? Like that, and even if that isn't the case, if it's either just Yoru or death for whatever reason, I'm fine with that as well. But I also like this now, like, unlikely band, right? Like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing, right? Where like the Horsemen are like, maybe some of them are about teaming up, maybe not all of them, but hey, we got like a big problem here. And this final arc, I don't know, man. Like, could this go on for another like 20 to 30 chapters, right? Like, that's what I always kind of had in the back of my mind, but I feel like now there's more questions raised where I'm like, I feel like we can spread this out much longer.
Yeah, I mean, this climax, like you said, this climax could really go any different way. I mean, we are definitely, it seems like we are approaching what Fujimoto plans on having as like the final moment, but you're right, like this could only, we could be in the final moments, but this could also be stretched out for so many different reasons. So it is really tough to say. And honestly, like I said, just from the ending panel, I do think there is a chance that, Death Devil could be completely genuine, like I said, and just be, hey, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to, I don't want to end life. I just literally can't die. There's nothing I can do. And again, it makes sense why then at that point she also had a whole entire plan to build Yoru and Asa up. And also Denji, of course. I mean, the cool thing that I think that this shows is not only was their foundation laid before this, but also like the one thing that I really like about something like JoJo's does is every part has like its own like feel, its own kind of story, its own different interpretation. And when it leads to people where you can have kind of debates like, oh, this part's my favorite, this part's my favorite because of this, like this part, I relate to more because of this. And I feel like so that's also a good thing that Fujimoto was actually able to do this part, in my opinion. Like, it's completely different, yep. And like at the end of the day, people are gonna have their favorites. Like, it's not like it's not a bad thing to be like, hey, I prefer part 1 to part 2. There's also going to be people that prefer the slow burn, that prefer the more dialogue, the slower characterization for less characters, not as many big group comedy moments, so I feel like this really does show that part 2 can stand alone as its own thing. And I even said it before, like all the people that dropped Chainsaw Man because they said it was going nowhere and Fujimoto doesn't know what he's doing, like they dropped it, especially around like that torture Denji moment like you were talking about with the sushi bar and everything, because I mean especially after that, what was it, 167, that was another generational chapter, maybe for not for the same reason, but I remember there's so many people that were like, yep, nope, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Fujimoto's just meandering. He doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, I made the joke. I was like, hey, it's literally the meme of the guy who's, digging for gold and he stops right before the diamonds happen. Because since aging kind of kicked off and since Yoru and since Pochita came out, honestly, in my opinion, I've been enjoying the week to week of Chainsaw Man. I really genuinely have. There are some slow moments as Chainsaw Man does, because again, there's only fucking 14 pages sometimes, so you're like, wow, nothing fucking happened. But at the same time, everything that I've been seeing, I've been absolutely loving, in my honest opinion. I've been absolutely loving it. I really I especially. So I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, I'm just excited to see where this all goes, because if Death Devil is actually a friend, as you mentioned, who's the final villain? Is it Yoru or is it some other devil? Something, because one thing that I keep constantly going back to, right, is Makima mentioning that there were 4 other solutions to human life other than death, and Chainsaw Man devoured them. We know Chainsaw Man can puke things up. But without getting too much into what those things are, I something that is so weird to me that probably is nothing, right? It could just be something really dumb, but I still think it's so interesting that in the aging devil world, when humans didn't die, they eventually just reached enlightenment, quote unquote, and became fucking trees. and everyone has always brought up since that moment what cuts down trees, chainsaws. And it also, with getting the fake saw, it also has brought up the funny question, like, what if Pochita isn't the chainsaw devil? Like, everyone calls him the chainsaw devil. We've just spent the last, almost over 100 chapters of thinking Fami was the famine devil. Who's to say, again, Chainsaw isn't the Chainsaw Man devil? And not for nothing, who's to say, again, those other kinds of, solutions to death? There's so many interesting tidbits of information that, again, could mean nothing. They could just be small little things that just Fujimoto weirdness. But at the same time, if Fujimoto was able to slip this under our noses, like, what else has he also been laying the groundwork for that's going to come out in this arc? Which, again, is just another reason why it's so exciting.
Ooh, man. Okay, you said a lot of things. Okay, first of all, let's just pretend Chainsaw Man is not Chainsaw Man and he's, I don't know, the existence devil or whatever, right? Like, I mean, to bamboozle your entire audience into calling this series Chainsaw Man and he's actually called whatever, that would be fucking wild, bro. That would be so wild, Where, like, maybe he didn't have that idea exact, right, when he wrote Chainsaw Man Part 1, but he knew from the get with Chainsaw Man Part 2 in the story he wanted to tell with Asa and Yoru that, like, I'm gonna bamboozle people two ways. I'm gonna fucking think people that the horseman that they're meeting whose family is actually death, and that Chainsaw Man that everyone knows and loves is actually not Chainsaw Man, it's someone else, right? That would be so wild. So who's to say? But I'm glad you brought that idea with the aging devil arc and the whole concept of people turning into trees and all that stuff. Now those ideas because this is, I think, has been consistent with Fujimoto, where you will have a consistent idea, right? Like, there is something that could be expanded upon, but he doesn't expand on it. And that's the end of it. And you're like, well, okay. I guess he's not really going to dwell too much on that. But with this revelation here, now that opens up that can of worms of, like, okay, yeah, people are going to turn into trees. They've reached some type of like nirvana, enlightenment, and what cuts trees down? Chainsaw Man. So there's definitely something there that I think we should definitely dive into. And I think because of what happened in this chapter, that concept might be reintroduced. And now I'm also going to say, if I fully don't doubt Fujimoto anymore, then I fully expect that whatever the fuck Fumiko did, you better have a goddamn good answer for me.
So true.
I cannot wait for that reveal, right? So let's see what happens, right? Maybe I'm asking for too much. But we'll have to wait and see. And a lot of people said this. I don't know if they said it in your video. They're like, mark my words, Kishibe is coming in chapter 199.
No one mentioned that. At least I don't think I saw any comments about Kishibe at all. But that, oh my god, man. If Fujimoto just keeps delivering, like, it's just, dude, like, honestly, at this point, keep making us eat our words, Fujimoto. Like, I can't complain about it more. It's so funny to me because I do get comments that are like, oh, like, YouTubers never want to admit they're wrong. Like, honestly, if the more I'm wrong, the better, because that just means that I'm going to enjoy the story way more. But, like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I do think the whole idea that there are all these devils that have been forgotten, like, it, and especially now that we've already had one, again, identity theft like moment, like, it's not out of the question for that to occur. And also, one thing that I've been thinking about is it's interesting how we don't really, now that we have the reveal of death and we have the famine devil, I'm really interested to see what their relationship, quote unquote, what their perspective on Pochita is, right? Because Makima comes away, they had their big battle, Pochita gets injured, meets Denji, that's how the whole series starts. Makima comes away from that, becoming public safety's dog, and basically almost like falling, like not in love, but like becoming obsessed with the idea of Chainsaw Man, the hero of hell. You know, this, you know, crazy things where she wants to have that, you know, and, you know, she wants to have a family, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yoru comes away from that hating Chainsaw Man, resenting him, having a grudge, and wanting nothing more than to get powerful enough to take him down and destroy him. I'm interested to see how Famine feels about, you know, about Pochita, and also interested to see what connection, if there really is this connection between, again, you know, Chainsaw Man cutting down trees, which humans ultimately come into, Chainsaw Man devouring the 4 other solutions to life, because this whole other solutions to life thing, like, how powerful were those devils in reference to death? Right? If they were like, were those other solutions to life as powerful as death? Was Pochita at his prime able to defeat devils that strong? And again, if we got Makima's what I'm getting at this ultimately is we got Makima's interpretation of why Pochita and them got into a big battle with the Horsemen. We got who's to say why that battle actually happened? If Makima was blinded, like, what if, you know, again, this is me just getting into crazy headcanon and theory, just because but like, what if, again, there is some kind of connection between Pochita and death? What if Pochita ate these other solutions to life so death could be the only, you know what I mean? I don't know what I'm ultimately saying, or if I'm just talking out of my ass, but like, I guess, it's really interesting where the hell Fujimoto could take this, since this is such a crazy development in the story.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's too far-fetched. That's been a correlation I think a lot of people have been putting or been trying to piece, right? Like, you know, we have to think about like these concepts and the things that they're adjacent towards, right? So like, okay, the Fire Devil is like all about, you know, flames, right? But then why is there like a flamethrower hybrid, and what makes the flamethrower specifically like one of these 7 powerful devils, right? When you also have like bombs and katanas and etc. So what I'm trying to get at though with that is like, okay, we have the concept of death, and I guess if we were making this like an olive branch and root tree, right, a family tree, like, yeah, Pochita definitely falls in under that category. So what else could fall under that category as well, right? And you know, and that's what makes the fake Chainsaw Man, to me anyway, more interesting, because like, if now the fake Chainsaw Man is stemming, you know, as of right now, I really do like the idea that like he was spawned from the fear of, you know, the popularity of Denji and Chainsaw Man, right? And that's how we got fake Chainsaw Man. So what kind of properties and powers does it have? But then now again, this is the Game of Thrones family tree, right? But now this devil made a contract with the Justice Devil, who's really the Fire Devil, right? So like, it's like there's something there. I just don't know how to piece it or eloquently say it as well, right? Like, that's why I'm a little bamboozled too. I'm like, okay, now my head is just starting to hurt thinking about this stuff. But I like that idea that there's some type of relationship between Pochita and death, just from the concept of erasure and, you know, not existing and, you know, all that stuff. So, it's yeah, dude, I don't know where the fuck the story's gonna go. I'm like so excited now. I think a lot of people are reinvigorated. I wanted to say something a little bit earlier that I didn't have a chance to touch upon when you were talking about like Makima and, you know, how she was the big bad in part 1. I think, you know, because it's hard to trick people twice. Have you ever seen Westworld?
I've seen season 1 and like 2-3 episodes of season 2, but I know most. Yeah, go ahead. You don't have to worry about spoiler or anything.
No. It's just that whenever you get to that big spoiler of like who some of these characters are, right? Like, what ended up happening with Westworld season 2 is that because the audience were so, you know, caught off guard with that huge twist in season 1, now they are definitely paying attention way more for the events in part 2. And what happened with part 2, and again, it's not really to give too much into spoilers, but because the showrunners knew that the audience is now smarter because of that,
they changed it, right?
Purposely made the show more convoluted for no fucking reason, right? It's like, guys, you made it too confusing when we all kind of already saw the twist coming, or we could have like formulated it a little bit better, but like, now to the detriment of you trying to deceive us, it made the show suffer.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at is that I love how this community thought we were so smart, thinking, Makima was a control devil. If someone got that right away, congratulations. But now I truly feel bad for the anime onlys that, when they get into part 2 and they see the introduction of Fami at the school, before reviving Yuko into that big octopus thing. I hate that now, like, this moment we had as the community is going to be almost stripped, because there's going to be a lot of people that are like, well, that's actually death. Don't worry, right? Like,
oh my God, yeah, so true.
I hate that, bro. Yeah. Because the Makima moment was kind of like, I feel like a lot of people did a good job with that, and a lot of people didn't know or care about Chainsaw Man. But now I think with the Reze movie dropping in October for us, and the end of season 1, and now like where part 2 is going to end, right? Like a lot of people are excited about part 2. I hate that this moment is going to be stripped for a lot of anime onlys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's I'm trying to think. It's the same thing with like when Totally Not Mark, I think, was doing his Naruto blind review. And like he like was like doing his best to avoid spoilers, and someone literally like used like symbols and everything to like spoil like Toby as a character. I don't know if you've seen Naruto or whatnot.
Oh yeah, I have, yeah.
Okay, and like someone literally like I said, like literally broke through like his Twitter muting system to try and ruin that spoiler for him. It's like when you have like reveals where characters are pretending to be other characters, it is an awesome reveal, but you're right, there is that issue where, oh damn, like, could be potentially ruined for everybody, I mean,
yeah.
It's a tough, like you said, it's a tough twist with twists like that. If anything, in my honest opinion, it just shows that it's just a really good twist because people can't keep their mouth shuts about it. At the end of the day, it's that big of a deal. Because the big issue is like now, like I'm probably gonna call her Fami for the rest of time now. Now it's like it's so hard to differentiate now and be like this is who she is. But either way, yeah.
I do have one question because I sort of have an answer, but I also don't have enough manga panels to back it up. So one of the questions people were asking me is that, how did Yoru not know that Fami was death?
Yeah.
And someone, I think whether it was Twitter or it was a manga panel that I shared, and maybe I'll send it to you here in a second. But Yoru basically said, like, it's been so long since I've seen like Fami, I almost didn't recognize her. Right. And we also have to remember too that in part 1, Makima only knew of people through their scent, not with how they looked.
Yeah, she couldn't even recognize people's faces.
Yeah. So is this a glaring weakness amongst A, just the horsemen, or 2, just the concepts of devils? Like devils don't remember devils and they only remember them via scent, right? Like I'm sure looking at them, it's not like they're completely ditzy, but like they're so above trying to recognize someone through their face. They're just like, oh, of course I don't know you, like, because I don't have time or even want to know you, right? Like, because I'm so, like they're hubris. It's kind of next level, right? So I think if that's especially the case with the horsemen, why couldn't Yoru acknowledge that Fami was death all along, right? And that's a good question. And the only manga panel, I'll find it here in a second, but yeah, she that's what she just said. Like, it's been so long since I've seen them, but we know all of them battled Chainsaw Man at some point. So how long ago was that event?
Yeah, it's so funny because I've seen so many other, like, I've seen so many people like talk about this too, and I've seen so many guys. I saw one that was actually really funny where people are just like, Yoru is just dumb, and like they brought up multiple manga panels of like Yoru literally just not being just being stupid, and they're like, honestly, Yoru's just dumb. But no, like I do think there is some merit to that, where I kind of said it earlier too, where it's like was Yoru aware the entire time and just didn't say anything? We know her and Asa share thoughts to a degree, so Asa might be aware of that, but also at the same time, I think One thing that you mentioned earlier, that I almost want to bring up, as not as my answer, but as almost like something to chew on, is when you mentioned that like the real Famine Devil almost seems completely aware of this prophecy to the same point that the Death Devil is aware of the prophecy. Sure, we have, unfortunately, with Nayuta, you know, Makima, the original personality of the Control Devil, died, and then we have this new reincarnation. So obviously, it makes sense why she wouldn't recognize death. It makes sense why she wouldn't recognize this. Whereas Yoru, like, it's also completely possible that maybe the Death Devil, when she came to Earth, was just in a different body. Maybe she's not in the same, maybe they just completely switched, you know. We really don't know. It could be genuine, you know, Yoru always knew and didn't say anything, because I think there even was a panel that I saw on Twitter that where it was the moment they meet Famine, Yoru is like, Asa's like, who was that? And she's like, that's Famine, don't trust her. Like, don't trust anything she says. So it's like, we really, I think that is something that I hope Fujimoto does elaborate on, because that is really the only missing link to this twist, right? I feel like every other character, you can reason why they weren't able to figure this out. Again, it even makes sense why Fami dipped immediately when someone like Aging, a devil who has never died and would definitely recognize the Death Devil on sight, she just dipped and was nowhere to be found when they appeared. So I would hope it's something that Fujimoto does answer, because as of right now, we can really just speculate as to why she wasn't able to figure this out. But I think you brought up that great point, because I don't remember that panel and I didn't see what you're talking about. So if that is the case, I think that's the perfect way to explain it away right there.
Yeah. Okay. So you spawned like 2 fucking juicy ideas in my head when you were saying that stuff. Okay. The first one, and now I fucking lost it. I gotta explain the Power one. Okay. Power makes his contract with Denji at the end of part 1, and it's like, oh shit. Okay. Never mind. They actually go hand in hand. Okay. What if the Horsemen don't know each other, but they know like their scent or like their presence, because they're just that strong? But you're right. What if Death, you know, I don't want to say died, right? Like, okay, Makima died. She went to hell, got reincarnated, turned into Nayuta. Nayuta only knows of Makima and all that stuff because she like used her abilities to, you know, read Denji's mind, right? What if these Horsemen, minus Death, at some point, like Makima, died and they just were reincarnated? And yeah, maybe that's why Yoru couldn't really remember Fami, and she couldn't recognize her, because like, well, wait, I think I know her presence, but I literally don't remember her because like it wasn't me. It was another War Devil. It was another Famine Devil, right? And now, look how this correlation is going to come back full circle. That's a fucking mic drop. An exclusive right here, No Operators channel. Now, in part 1, Power told Denji, when I die, we're not going to remember each other. The new Blood Devil's not going to remember you. But here's the fucking loophole. Let's make a contract. Find the Blood Devil, convince them that they are me or whatever, or turn them back into me, and that's how I can come back. So what if through the Power subplot, this is also going to reveal why the Horsemen couldn't really recognize each other, or this is going to answer the question you just presented to me, right?
Huh. That actually, I like that. I like that theory. I mean, like I said, it makes sense why, like, if another thing that also came to life as we were talking that you just said that, I know you have to leave soon.
No, you're good. Yeah, we're good. We got, like, I can do 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
No.
I was going to say, it's interesting, right? How did Falling Devil spawn? How did the Falling Devil become the way that we've seen her? She literally, all those people, you know, fell to their deaths and died, and then she literally made her vessel out of the scattered body parts. How did the Darkness Devil literally create himself in hell out of all of the different random body parts that were scattered about, and just made whatever form suited him at the time? It's almost interesting that, like, we see like these primal fears almost are like they exist almost as like essences, right? And they just built, even the aging devil was made out of scattered body parts. Like, how crazy is it if that, to say all of that, how crazy is it to literally just mention that, hey, Death Devil, when coming to Earth, literally made her own form. It's just when making her own form, she was like, I'm gonna be a high school girl instead of some crazy fucking eldritch abomination, you know what I mean? Like, and like that's the perfect way to also achieve whatever her fucking goal is of blending into plain sight and being, hey, I'm the famine devil, you know? Like, and also because she and again with the whole Four Horsemen thing, I think one thing that we definitely we touched on a little bit but didn't touch on a lot was the Nostradamus prophecy. And even like, no matter whatever is going on with that, I think you brought up a good point of what's going on with that prophecy. Was it a lie all along? Was it completely different than what we thought about? Because if it's interesting to me, and I just thought about it now, that death did show up before famine in general, because we know, again, the order that the Four Horsemen are supposed to show up in, and it almost seems like death picked famine because she knew, hey, famine's not going to be here for another month or so. I can show up as famine, and I know she's not going to be able to call me out on it because she's not going to appear until it's too late anyway. So it is interesting to me, the Nostradamus prophecy and how that fits into everything too. Because if death, why did death? If this was death the whole time, why did she arrive so early? How was she able to do that? And what the fuck is the prophecy at all in general if it was this wrong off base to begin with?
Yeah, and I wonder if we go to the Falling Devil arc, and we now know that Fami was death. She was trying to get rid of Yoru. She summoned the Falling Devil to have the real Justice Devil consume War so that she could control her, right? Because Nayata's like, you just tried to kill your sister. And it's like, well, I just needed her in the belly of the Justice Devil so I can control her, because it'd just be easier to control her that way. Now, she almost had a 2-for-1 and threw Denji in there in the mix as well, right? Yeah. So let's hypothetically pretended that the Justice Devil or the Falling Devil was successful in, weakening, Asa and Denji enough, and the Justice Devil consumed Chainsaw Man and Yoru. What was now Death going to do with those two, right? Because now they're just weakened versions of whatever her ultimate plan was. And because it did come, because her plan was foiled, now when you look at the Aging Devil arc, or no, even the Church of Chainsaw Man, it's like, okay, well, controlling them didn't work. So how about now I summon the homie, the Fire Devil, to make contracts with 300,000 people to make the Fire Devil stronger, but simultaneously make the concept of War and Chainsaw really strong as well. So it's like, if I can't control them, let me just beef them up for something we don't fucking know yet, right? This is what I'm getting so giddy about. It's like, so what the fuck is the age of the prophecy? I thought it was going to be Yoru was the bad guy all along. Oh, how did we miss this? She was here just like Makima. No, Death was fucking here all along too. So, and it seems like Fami and Death definitely knows what is going to come. Yoru has some ulterior motive, right? I think she just wants to see the world burn like the Joker, whatever. But then what's the prophecy about? I don't know. I don't know. That's the part that I'm just still, I'm at a loss of words.
Again, it makes me think about the forgotten devils and the ones that have been lost in a race to time, because it really does make you think Fujimoto really would be able to come out of the gates here, or at least he has the potential to, not saying, this is all just speculation. We really don't know what's going to happen, but Fujimoto really could come out of the gate here, like you said, and introduce, hey, the Nostradamus prophecy, death leads to, again, some devil that has been forgotten to time, that humans don't even know about anymore, because it's, or again, who's to say that it was ever eaten by Chainsaw Man to begin with? It's just something that humans don't even understand, almost like a Lovecraftian thing where humans are unable to even understand the concept of what comes after death. What is a devil that would be more feared and more powerful than death? Honestly, maybe there isn't one. Maybe it is. Maybe she is the apocalypse. But it's also possible that, you know, maybe humans misinterpreted Nostradamus' prophecy entirely. Everyone put all of this strain and all of this, you know, evil, and we have to stop the Death Devil. We have to stop the Death Devil. When in reality, Death has been on our side this entire time, trying to take herself out and trying to stop, like you said, who knows whatever the fuck could be coming when the apocalypse or whatever, the fall or whatever, when it happens. Again, it could just be death, but the gates are open for and Fujimoto could literally, like, at the end of the day, like, even if he like introduced like, this is the fucking symbol, gibberish symbol, blah 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 devil, and it's like, and he doesn't even give it a name, like, and it's just an all-powerful being. Like, I can't even say that I would be mad at that point, like, because I'd be like, okay, Fujimoto, you're kind of cooking here, like again, that's a very off the wall, out of left field shit, but again, we literally could not even begin to speculate what will actually happen and what Fujimoto is actually going to put together here, because of how crazy this all is.
Yeah, because it was almost too easy when we were pivoting to the perspective of, like, you know, Yoru makes well, not the contract, but she tells Denji, like, hey, defeat death, and, you know, and then Asa says, like, in that same chapter or the previous chapter, like, no, like, Yoru has something big and bad happening. Because that was so easy for me to say, and I think I said it in our last stream together, that, like, you know, I love that the hybrids, there are these powerful weapons that Makima like served, right, or Makima controlled, and, you know, what is Yoru's angle, right? Like, grabbing these powerful devils, turning them into weapons. It's like, well, what says a better weapon than a fucking hybrid / weapons devil itself, right? And I'm like, oh shit, like, we're gonna have, like, Yoru go, like, Shang Tsung style, like, absorb all these motherfuckers, make her like this ultimate, like, big badass war person, somehow get nuke, and then Yoru is the big bad. But it's like,
we already saw the fucking gun goddess, so
yeah,
sheesh.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, dude, that's, oh man, it's so awesome, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, well, we also know, I think, well, I don't want to say we also know, I think it would just be silly if the weapons were omitted from this final battle, right? Like, we need all of them, right? For better and for worse. And then again, that of course teases, like, hey, is Reze gonna come back? Yes or no? Come on, you know. But I'm just as dumbfounded. I know I've been saying that a lot too, but I don't know where the hell the story's gonna go now. But I think a reread is definitely in order. I did see someone say, because I didn't want to talk on this, they were asking your thoughts on Nayata being alive.
Oh, thank you for that. I'm sorry, I haven't been checking my chat.
No, it's fine. Let me just quickly say, you know, a lot of people were saying, like, okay, Fami absorbed the life of, like, the ants, you know, absorbed the life force, the nutrients of that guy, and that's how she became a thing, right? So Fami's concept of, like, absorbing the life, right, via famine and all this stuff, nutrients, etc., her powers make sense.
Yep.
But now that we know that, you know, death was death the entire time, if we recall back to the battle that Asa had with Yuko, how does death resurrecting someone have to do with her powers, right? Like, Fami's makes sense to me, right? I'm going to absorb the nutrients out of you because, you know, I'm hungry, I'm famine, whatever.
Yeah.
That's how I regenerate. What does death resurrecting Yuko mean? Or like how does that correlate with her powers, right? Because, you know, you can probably say this whole, like, rebirth of life and death, etc. But, you know, wouldn't you think what Fami's powers were, right? Again, just 2 chapters ago, it's like, obviously this is death, right?
Yeah.
She touches things, they die. This is death, right? But we saw death resurrect Yuko, and now this is bringing up this question of Nayata coming back, right? Like, if Nayata did seemingly die, because they confirmed it in the volume 20 cover, right? That, like, Nayata died in the Church of Chainsaw Man, right? You know, during those riots. Well, despite her being served on a platter, I mean, why wouldn't death resurrect her if she definitely did it with Yuko?
Yeah, I really do wonder if it because the thing is it could be just as simple as, you know, the starving power, that's what I think she explained it as the first time. Obviously we know that's not true. It could have everything to do with just the fact that she just has control over all devils, that like similar, like, because it makes me think the way that Yoru was so easily able to just immediately subjugate Gun and Tank. You know, these are my children. They are, and we kind of even mentioned it even a little bit before, where you were like, you know, the Fire Devil, you know, how does the Fire Devil then have a, you know, is it like a smaller subsection of the Flamethrower Devil? Like, is the Flamethrower Devil technically just a subspecies of the original Fire Devil? Like, and I wonder, like, is there really like a family tree, like almost a hierarchy to devils? We know the Death Devil is above all else. We know the Primal Fear is like, what if that hierarchy is genuinely like Yoru is able to subjugate any weapons that technically stem from her as the whole war? So Gun Devil, Tank Devil, things that are born out of war, she's able to subjugate them. What if, and you think about it, Guillotine, the Guillotine Devil, the Falling Devil, like, what if it is something that simple where she is just able to control all devils that have to do with death? You die when you fall. You die from the guillotine. Like I wonder if it could be something as simple as that, or like you said, does it have to do with her devil power? Is it like resurrection? Is it completely ironic that the Death Devil's power is just resurrection? It actually, the Death Devil ironically is the Life Devil, but is just called the Death. Like, it could also be that. But I do think, that Pokeball little starving thing where she's like able to bring people back to life, or she's able to, you know, condense devils into smaller beings and then quote unquote resurrect them from their things. You know, I do think I wonder if those things are intertwined or together. And I'm trying to remember when Yuko was reborn. I completely I completely forgot that.
Because Asa defeated her, right? With like the sword or whatever, right? Like she like chopped her up into all these pieces.
Oh, then, you're right. She does. You're right. I'm sorry. I remember now. For some reason I was thinking of, you were saying she was reborn after Fake Saw killed her, but now I know what you're talking about. That's what the miss was. Now you're right. Yes, Fami does bring her back to life when. And
that was the introduction of death for the very first time. She's like, I'll do anything for my little sister. And a lot of people are like, oh shit, this is another horseman. Look at the eyes, look at the earrings, right? Like kind of like the scale, right?
I wonder if it then is to the devil contract or whatever. I don't know, really. I really don't know. That's an interesting question now. Yeah.
You know what though? But now it got me thinking. We found out in the prison that she can, summon these devils, but they are at a fraction of their powers. What if the weakness with death, right? Like the double-edged sword with her crazy power, right? Like summoning Falling and Gilly, right? Is that they are quite literally a husk of themselves, just like death, right? Like, they're not as powerful because they are like, there's just not a lot going on with them. They are quite literally like some zombie type thing, right? Not truly like a zombie devil, but a shell of their former glory. Right, and that really plays onto the idea of like death is quite literally a husk herself.
Yeah, it's almost like, it makes me think like I just got like such a brain blast, almost like it makes me think of almost the Angel Devil, where like just touching him was like it would sap your life away. Like I wonder if it's similar to that, but almost like life steal, like Death Devil literally steals life from the things that she touches and then can give that life to other things. But like you mentioned, it's not fully like when you're resurrected, like you're not back to 100%, you're back to 80, and then if, let's say, this person dies again and she revives them again, then you're back to 50%. Like it's almost like she can't bring you back to 100%, but she can still, take that stored life. And, even that sounds weird. It could be anything, but it's almost like what if it is like something like Life Steal, where she's able to store that power, or who knows? It could be so many different things.
Okay, so hold on. Now I'm thinking about something else too. So you talked about Angel and how Angel's powers like zapped the life, right? Remember when Makima like shot that beam, right? It was like Angel's powers. It was like a 500
She's like 1,000 years, and she shot that fucking laser beam at Pochita.
But what were those fucking people? weren't they
Yeah.
like kind of like headless zombie looking people?
And it like opened like a portal to space triangle almost, where the beam almost fired from. Like it literally was like,
yeah. Dude, now, okay, is this a stretch to say, could we see some type of like reborn again angel devil? Right? Because how can we have this prophecy of the age of devils and not have like these creatures from heaven intervene as well? But like, not in the way of like good versus bad. Think of Bayonetta. If you ever played Bayonetta, where like, oh, like here's like the good angels.
Yeah, it's
and warriors,
reverse.
but they're like fucking corrupt people, you know?
oh,
So like,
party, yay, let's go.
yeah. Dude, what the hell is going on in Discord right now? No idea what the hell's going on.
Doing Zoom shit. Like we're in a Zoom meeting at work. Like literally, that's what happens. Crazy.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? Like now I wonder if there's something going on with that where it's like, oh shit, like we can't have this Nostradamus prophecy without having like these higher up beings. And if Angel was the introduction of this, now we get more of these things. But I mean, who knows, man?
I'm sorry to. I know you also have to go soon at the end of the day because we're coming up on the extra 20 minutes. But it makes me even wonder. Like obviously, like I don't think we would get like the Antichrist devil, but like isn't Nostradamus's prophecy quite literally like this faker comes out, it's fake, they come out and then they reveal themselves. It's so funny too because holy shit, like are you familiar with like the real Nostradamus's prophecy?
No, I don't remember anymore.
Okay. So it is a real thing essentially. And where Nostradamus predicted three potential ends of the world, three potential antichrists that are going to rise. Why Nostradamus's prophecy is so popular is because people actually believe that he was right on 2 out of his 3 prophecies, and the third one has yet to come true. He also has like thousands of other prophecies that have not come true, but like these are the 3 that everyone harps on, that the most popular. Because one of the main theories is basically almost to a T describing Napoleon and his attempt to conquest and take over the world. He failed.
Okay.
The second prophecy is almost to a T. Again, it's an all interpretation. It's not to a T. This is whatever, but these are these people. But you can allude to these people. Number 2 was Hitler. And then the third one is the Antichrist that will appear supposedly in our generation. There'll be a fake person that comes preaching good things, preaching that they're going to save everyone and help everyone. And then they're going to reveal at the end of the day that they were actually faking everything and that they were setting up the apocalypse behind everyone's eyes and fooling everyone. So it's almost so funny to me that like literally the Death Devil was this person who was trying to help this whole time and ended up being this fake person. But so again, like it's also possible that like if the Death Devil, what if the Death Devil, again going through a theory of is like, what if there's a 5th horseman? What if there is someone that comes after it? So I don't know. This twist is fucking awesome. Yeah, there's so many. I can't believe I just had thought of that and realized how much the real Nostradamus' prophecy played into what Fujimoto did.
Yeah, well, this was something I don't want to say we, but like I thought about in the beginning of part 2 of like, okay, Makima was the big bad, and now, she kind of teased her other siblings, right? And we have the 4 horsemen, but who do the 4 horsemen listen to? Right?
Yeah.
Because they're their own like badass people, but they're like an entourage, right? Like I would assume they're kind of like the Black Myth Wukong,
Charlie's Angels. Who's like, Charlie though?
Yeah, like, yeah. Thank you. Wow, that's so funny. They're Charlie's Angels. Who the fuck is Charlie? So yeah, man. All
we can really do is just wait. All we can really do is just wait and see what Fujimoto blesses us with, because. I mean, like, we could talk about this for probably. I was thinking this coming into this, like, damn, are we really gonna be able to talk for like an hour or something about this? And here we are. Like, I'm sure we could go for another hour. Like, it's just there's so much to talk about.
I know. And we didn't. Well, I don't know if you answered the question. I think now at this point, because of like what we know, I think Nayuta will come back.
Oh yeah, we completely lost the plot. Yeah, no, Nayuta, she might come back as a different control devil or something else. But I think she is truly dead. I think the mole being the only proof we have, the not being there being the only proof we have of her still being alive and it being a fake head is just not enough for me. If she ends up being alive and it was like a fraud, cool, that's awesome, but like it's not enough for me to stake a belief that she's still alive personally.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think she's gone, but I think she's going to be the zombified thing that we've seen now teased with Falling, with Gilly, and now we will get. And keep in mind too, Naito was trying to convince Denji too, like, hey, why do we listen to humans? Like, let's just do whatever the fuck we want, right? So like Naito at a young age was pretty much on track with what death was kind of already all about, right? And Yoru as well, right? Like, hey, devils are selfish, we can do whatever we want. So what if now again, like the morals are kind of stripped, right? The teachings that Denji taught her through this zombified resurrection via death. And someone even threw this crazy fucking theory, which now I'm like, oh, I don't think it's completely bullshit. Someone is like, the whole thing we got with aging and how aging is like, I want to make Denji and Asa grow up and mature a bit. What if this crazy can theory of Naita being resurrected, she's somehow thrown in that aging devil dimension to quite literally grow up and she becomes this Makima 2.0 person? Right?
Oh my god, that'd be fucking insane. Bro, you know what you just made me think about? Like, holy crap, like who's to say that like you said, because we just had that conversation with Denji and Yoru talking about, oh well, you know, well, Denji's like, will Nayuta be there? No, she's probably a new control devil. Oh, I guess, you know, I had this contract with Power, but, you know, I guess she's probably someone new entirely too. Like, just like, how crazy would it be? This probably isn't true, but like with the way that almost every shonen ends nowadays, like, how crazy would it be if like Denji, Death are fighting and she goes, oh, by the way, plop, and then she pulls out like Power or fucking something like crazy like that. Like, here's the Blood Devil, like here's Nayuta as, like I said, the zombified half power fucking, you know, weapon that I can use, and also like here's Power, like, by the way, like, remember how you were saying you were never gonna meet them again? Here they are, Denji, but now they're mine, and you have to kill them. Like, that would be, or fucking Aki, he has to kill Aki again. Good lord.
Dude, yeah. Look, we can ramble. I do have to get going.
I got you, brother. I got you.
I love this conversation. I'm sure a lot of people are they'll be in cahoots with us rambling what we just rambled about. So,
hell yeah, brother. Thank you so much for coming by. I genuinely appreciate it. Thanks for hitting me up. I know you got to go, so I won't keep you any longer. You know, your channel's in the description. If you want to shout anything out, go ahead, but I'll let you go.
Yeah. Of course, I do have a merch store called Nen Garden. You guys can see. Let me go ahead and whip this out. My Chainsaw versus War playmat. Use Fumiko for 48% off. And I mean, check this out. I mean, this is one of the coolest things I put out. So
it is fire. It is fire. Link is in the chat, guys.
Yeah. So. But beyond that, thank you guys. You know, it was a blast. And dude, we'll see where Fujimoto goes. Look, the moment we see Kishibe in Power, I mean, I think we may have to hop on again too.
110%. I was gonna say, yeah, we'll definitely do this again soon. The next time we get a generational chapter like this. But please enjoy the rest of your night, brother.
Thank you. All right, man. Take care.
You too. Be good. All right, everyone. How we feeling, chat? I can check you guys out now. Let's see how you guys are all doing. What's going on, guys? Did we enjoy ourselves? Did we have a good stream? Oh, that was fun. This chapter really genuinely is a chapter unlike any other. There's really not much else to say other than that. Like, I'm glad you had fun, Spoochie. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to stay for like another 10 minutes or so just to wind down so we get to a solid hour and a half. It helps me keep my 30 hours a month streaming. You know, an hour and a half is easier to count at the end of the month. But I hope all of you guys are having a beautiful night. Hope you guys are enjoying Chainsaw Man just as much as I am. And yeah, it is April 2nd, 2025. What are you guys planning to do with the rest of your nights? I've been getting into a lot of Balatro lately. I don't know if anyone else has been playing Balatro. Nah, my night is Glamorous or Glamours. Earlier on, Fami told Nayuta that she wanted to keep the Age of Devils from happening. Do you think she meant that? The thing is like, I generally do believe there is a good chance that Death is completely genuine and Death does not want to end the world. Like, I do genuinely believe that Death wasn't playing a character when she was talking to Fumiko and Yoshida, right? When she was like, hey, you know, I want to enjoy the time I have left. I have a festival at school. You know, I want to do that and hang out with them. Like, I quite honestly, I believe her. I feel like there's no, like, while she was this, you know, mastermind who took, you know, Fami's name, the real Famine Devil's name, it's, I generally do think, you know, she could be a genuine girl. Is that kind of food? No, it's a video game. It's a poker roguelike. It's honestly really fun. I generally have enjoyed it a lot. You have to make as many poker hands as you can to reach the high score. Playing Atomfall right now for the first time. Hey, okay, I hope you have fun. Gonna start my first playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Did the remake come out? Or are you just playing the OG? I know the remake is about to come out. But yeah, no, it's a poker roguelike. Super fun, honestly. I love it. We got to run Jackbox again. We do got to run Jackbox again, quite honestly. We do got to run Jackbox again. Fixo Man looks different than he did on the Falling Devil arc. Yeah, he does look a lot different. Hey, what up, anime darling? How you doing? I'm sorry that you so we are winding down. We're only going to be here for another 5 minutes or so, but I do appreciate you stopping by. Hold on. I've got to move this around. Also, what happened to the Fire Devil? I don't know what happened to the Fire Devil. And I do think Nayuta's really dead, honestly. Honestly, actually hopped in 4 minutes ago. Oh, well, good then. I'm glad that you got a chance to enjoy the stream then. I always feel bad when people say hi right as I'm about to leave. It just hurts my soul. Push me to the edge. Damn, that's crazy. You would say that. I think the Death Devil reviving her is a really good prediction. There's a pretty good chance that if the Death Devil does have resurrection powers, there's so much that could happen. Again, I think it's so interesting that Denji and Yoru had that conversation. Gotta do a 6-hour stream, pal, nothing less. Fair enough. Honestly, fair enough. Based. What would Isagi do? That's a question I ask myself almost every day, and the more you do that, the better life you'll have, I promise you. Isagi knows what's up. Constantly. Oh, I have no discards left. All right. I have no choice but to play this ass hand. Wonder why the art quality took a nosedive. What, on Chainsaw Man? I mean, Fujimoto is not really the biggest fan of drawing, but also at the same time, that's what Look Back was about, right? Like, Fujimoto just personally feels like he just hates drawing because he feels like he's bad at it. So he doesn't feel like he's able to get what he wants across. Manga authors be going through it. So true. They do be going through it. If he feels trash, I really shouldn't be so hard on myself. Oh yeah, Fujimoto literally, Look Back was literally like a Fujimoto literally was the character in Look Back. Got a job interview tomorrow right after getting laid off. Damn, that fucking sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully the new job is even better. Sometimes life comes at you in crazy fucking ways. I know that's easier said than done, but, you know, I'm sorry to hear that. Joker cards suck. When Fujimoto has time, he's a Da Vinci. He does have his moments for sure. Go read the Chainsaw Man vs. Weapons fight in part 1. I didn't remember just how fire the art was. He genuinely he has cooked much better before. Chapter 87. There was the Falling Devil arc where he literally had the full page of the full chapter of double spreads. That was fucking amazing. We got like 8 double spreads. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. He was killing it. When he wants to, when he puts his whole bussy into something, Fujimoto kills it. It's just he doesn't always put his whole bussy into something. That's the issue. My God. There we go. Needed that. Think there'll be a part 3? I sincerely hope there's a part 3. I want Chainsaw Man to genuinely be just like JoJo's. I need it. The art for the darkness fight was also top tier. I thought I was watching a horror film. True, that was one of the best moments in the series. You're not wrong. That was one of the best moments in the series. You can't make that up. Okay, that's actually not a bad Joker card. I fuck with that. Part 1 really did shine in its tense moments. I was so glad that I was anime only first for Chainsaw Man. Being anime only was just such a fun time. I don't care what anyone says. Chainsaw Man anime was perfect. Though the animation was too good is like such a crazy thing. People are spoiled. Yeah, well, I could have told you that. Damn kids with their wireless headphones and their boneless pizza. Part 2's lacking in the cast department, in my opinion. Yes, 110%. I fully agree with that statement. Without a doubt, I fully agree with that statement. Completely and wholeheartedly agree. I think me and DJ Miles were literally saying that last time. That's literally the biggest issue, is just the cast isn't as memorable. The cast isn't as good. It's just not. It's not, and I'm tired of pretending it is. Okay. I hate when I get these 4-4s. God damn it. Damn, of course I threw away the full house. Whatever. That's gambling, baby. You ever played Look Outside? No, I don't think I have heard of that game before. Darkness Devil Astro moment was one of the best moments in Chainsaw Man. That's without a doubt. I completely agree with that. That panel is iconic. I can't wait to see how they do that in the anime, honestly. Watching that done in that beautiful MAPPA fucking movie quality animation. I'm gonna be bricked up watching that. I'm just kidding. It's by Devolver, also absolutely banger horror RPG. I might have to try it out. I've never heard Look Outside. No, I've literally never heard of that. I'll have to check that out. It seems fun, actually. Seems kind of crazy. Any good YouTubers that have played it? You should play this new game called Curse Clash. Don't try to trick me into that. Don't try to trick me into that. What's up, Elias? How we doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Don't play poker. I only lose my money betting on fights. Fair enough. Have I been mourning since JJK ended? No. I've been loving all the new series that are going on. Dandadan, Chainsaw Man, Sakamoto Days has been pumping it as well. Oh, those are it. Fuck yeah, dude. Let's double all that money, baby. I haven't played the new Bleach game, no. I've heard mixed reviews on the PC. And I haven't gotten it on PS5. But I am going to be ranking all of the ultimates on Friday. So that should be fun. I'm going to go in completely blind. Need to hop on Kagurabachi and Centuria train before it blows up. I am on the Kagurabachi train. I've been covering Kagurabachi for the last couple of months on the second channel. If you are interested, link to the second channel, go check it out. But yeah, I post almost I post Dandadan, you know, Kagurabachi, Sakamoto Days, all that good stuff, all on the second channel. Basically where I post most of my manga reviews now. My main channel is mostly for streaming and just, you know, whatever I find, whatever I want to put my whole effort into for content-wise. Cartoons fighting, usually? Yeah, usually. Almost always. Almost always something to do with cartoons fighting. But if a devious lick on the CVS candy section, all right, well, you know. Crime doesn't pay. What do I think of solo leveling? I thought it was good, but overhyped to the moon. No, I love solo leveling. I think solo leveling is a lot of fun. I think people just take solo leveling way too seriously. But I love solo leveling. I thought it's a very fun story. It's not the best, but it's not it doesn't have to be. It gets the job done. It does what it needs to do, honestly. And sometimes that's all a series needs. Oh my god, all these fucking double pairs. Didn't think the cartoon fighting section of YouTube would be so lucrative. The cartoons are a big market. You should see the kind of people that dedicate entire channels to just analyzing whole cartoons. I mean, Donnie Tucello's, you got so many people that like literally just analyze cartoons for a whole ass living. Not reading Centuria? I gotta read Centuria. Oh, no repeat hand types? I'm an idiot. I wasted that whole hand. That's fine, though. I just got a full house. Listen, I just like solo leveling because I think it's fun watching Sung Jin Woo get fucking way too OP. I do some work about to finish up my last semester at college. Hey, good luck, brother. Chainsaw Man this week was wild. Yes, it was. Generational chapter, my friend. Wish you the best of luck on your last semester. Feels good to be done when you get that degree, trust me. It feels good to be fucking done. Never have to do homework again. Fuck. For me, solo is like One Punch Man's little brother, fun action that doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, exactly. You just can't take it too seriously. That's really what it comes down to. That's really what it comes down to. And hit it with that tree of a kind. Comedy during streams is very entertaining, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you, anime darling. Oh, Sadie lady, you want to get out of the room? You want to go check out mommy? No. You just sitting in front of the door like a weirdo. Who do you think is behind the door now? I closed the door. I opened the door to see if my dog wanted to leave, and she didn't want to leave, and I shut it, and now she thinks someone's on the other side of the door. No one's on the other side of the door, crazy lady. I shut it. Sadie is about to bite that ass. Gains +3 when any booster pack is skipped. I have so much money. I'm rich. I wish I was this rich in real life. $65 would be nice right now. I'm just kidding. Sure. Oh, I would have got plus. Wow. Joke's on me. Card gains +2 multiplayer per reroll in the shop. Ayo. I'm about to reroll again. I have 1 in 2 chances scored money. Sounds good to me. Why does Venus look like a penis? Oh, that's funny. You got me. I skip blinds because I can't see. That was dumb. I'm sorry that you guys had to hear that. I'll never speak again. What series has the best villains for you? Who has my favorite villain of all time or just in general? That's tough to say. I really don't know. Some of my favorite villains, like I love Mahito. Mahito's a great villain. I forgot how great of a villain Orochimaru really was, right? I was just thinking about him the other day. I was listening to his theme, while I was you know, vibing, and I was like, God damn, man, Orochimaru really was that boy, you know? Bro got shit done. Yu Yu Hakusho has some fire villains, indeed. Like, I think one of my favorite villains of all, like, I was also like, Zabuza is a really cool villain. Like, Naruto has really good villains. Bleach has really good villains. I love Aizen. Who has my favorite villains of all time, though? Wow, it's tough to say. It's not Jujutsu Kaisen. They really just forgave Orochimaru at the end, bro. Don't talk to me about Boruto. Boruto is crazy, man. Blue Vortex started off really strong, and then I started reading it weekly, and then I was like, I'm kind of bored again. I don't know, man. Sometimes Boruto just be boring. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just missing it, but sometimes I'm like, God damn, man. I just want something to happen, please. Ah, 4 and 4. Obito and Pain, Madara. Hunter x Hunter has really good villains. God, who's my favorite villain of all time? Man, you know what? You know what's a random ass take? Yo, I love Yami Merrick as a villain, dog. I think Yami Merrick from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the coolest villains of all time. And I know that's a random ass statement to say, but... No, JoJo's love. Yoshikage Kira is one of my favorite villains. I don't know if he's my favorite villain, but he's up there. Yoshikage Kira is that boy. He's probably my favorite JoJo's villain. That being said, I have not read part 7 or 8. So I can't speak on Funny Valentine or any of them. Keep that in mind. Oh, this run is cooked. Yeesh. Run is cooked, bro. Ain't no way I can score 22 hundo. Damn. That's wild. Trash. I gotta play 10 high card. Or fucking that might be the best chance I got is to play this 2-pair that doesn't get counted for half of it. And that's the game, folks. That's all she wrote. All right, guys. I am going to call it today. Just wanted to finish this run of Balatro before I ended the stream. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me. Heisenberg. God, man. Walter White. That boy. Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones is one of the greatest villains of all time, bro. Joffrey from the Game of Thrones, one of the greatest villains of all time. Dinkelberg, honestly, base. Dinkelberg is a crazy villain. Frieza's up there. You know what? Frieza never hit for me. Frieza was never was a hit DBZ villain for me. You know who was? I fucked with Cell. Cell was super cool, and his theme, peak. W stream more Balatro. Listen, don't tempt me. I will sit here for 8 hours and play Balatro. I spend I give myself breaks in between the day. I love playing Balatro. Cell is underrated. Cell does not get enough love. It's actually an understatement how sad I was when I went into Dragon Ball Superhero and Cell Max just ended up being perfect Cell Ozaru form, and Cell did not come back. I said, there is no way, bro. They're not gonna give me Damian Clark coming back to represent my boy. How are they gonna tease me like this? Insane. I was so, when they were fucking teasing Cell. We're bringing back Cell. And then they fucked us. They fucked us. Sensui from Yu Yu Hakusho slaps. I can't wait for you to check that out. You know what? That's a series that I could get into. I've been reading a novel, which is fun. I like reading novels, but I do prefer pictures sometimes. I'm a child at heart. I definitely prefer pictures with my words when I read. I don't know about anybody else, but played Berserker Kazan? No, I haven't played it. I've been checking out some streams here and there from your boy Roshi. So I have seen a little bit of it, but I only really watch that in the background when like I'm playing Balatro, or like I'm doing something for stream or doing something to like for research or something. So I don't get to watch too much of it. But yeah, I've seen a little bit of Berserker Kazan. It seems like a really fucking dope game. But yeah, guys, I love you. I'm gonna head out for the night. Thank you all so much for hanging out on stream. If you haven't already, hit that like button. It really helps the channel way more than you know. And yeah, I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace, 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 peace. Again, Friday night, streaming Friday night. We are ranking all of the ultimates in Bleach Rebirth of Souls. Come here Friday night. We'll be hanging out. We'll be drinking a little bit. We'll be hanging out. And we're gonna be ranking ultimates. Fellow Roshi fan, hell yeah, hell yeah, brother. $10 patron over here in the flesh. But anyway, guys, love you all. Seriously, thank you so much. And like I said, if you aren't familiar with the second channel, go subscribe to the second channel. I cover Chainsaw Man on it. You can check out my chapter review for this most recent Chainsaw Man if you want to hear more thoughts than me and DJ Miles covered. Subscribe to DJ Miles. His channel is in the title of the video. I appreciate him coming on. You know, I said thank you to him in person. I'll say thank you to him as a closer. Tiberius with the final gifted membership of the stream. Thank you for the buzzer beater. We're just sad, unfortunately, that it didn't go to Jesse. Let me see something. They apparently gave an option that creators are able to gift like one membership a stream, but I don't see an option to do that. They don't. I don't know if that was like a limited time thing, but YouTube hates me for real. I feel you, Jesse. If I could gift you the membership myself, I would, because I mean, at this point, the fact that to expect Jesse of all people to have to pay for a membership is insane. Without Jesse, there would be no second channel. So if anyone deserves a free membership, it's my girl. But all right, guys, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Love you all. Peace, peace, peace. Have a good rest of the night. Bye. Thank you for loving the shorts. Peace. Appreciate it.